Hello, everyone. Um, did we start talking about the book before we clicked go live? Yes.
Absolutely.
So, if we jump in mid-conversation, that's why.
Who would do that?
But hello, if you're here.
Yeah,
Hello. Hi, Jessica.
hello.
Yes, we're here to talk about trials of conviction. We are a small group this morning because life has lifed for everyone.
Right.
Um,
But
hello.
there's enough of us.
There, yes, exactly. There are enough of us. So, book 5. We all got there. I read this right back at the start of the month. So, if anything's sketchy, it's because July has July'd. But yes,
That's true.
It is still July.
I know.
Oh my God.
We were talking about this. It's like it's hard when you've caught up in a series. Although we know that she's actively working on the next book and that we should have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still on track.
Eventually.
This is the story of our lives because this is what we're doing with Alona Andrews.
Yeah.
We just await the next one.
Speaking of, did you guys see that the serial that they've been doing is completed? And I think on Monday is supposed to be like a title and cover announcement and release date and everything.
Ooh, no.
Oh, nice.
Yay. Oh, that is exciting. Oh, I didn't know that.
I know. I think particularly at the ending of this book, it like I was talking to Heather about it during the past week. Like it wraps a lot of things up, but it also just opens up the next part of the story, which I think is great.
I love the ending of this book so much. And you can see why I've been stuck on that ending since October. And was just like, wow, what a great place to be stuck. But
yeah, that's true.
It's good.
I will admit that I do not pay attention to book news, so I just wait for someone else to tell me when something's coming out.
Last I saw, it is still on track for later this year, but there is not a date or anything like that. She is done with the first draft, basically. She finished all of that. So it depends on how much needs to be fixed and edited based on where she mentions, like, you know, sometimes when when she's writing, she doesn't quite know where the plot's going to go or what characters are going to do and stuff. And then by the time she gets to the end of the book, she gets back to the beginning and some things need to be rewritten because things changed. And it depends on how much that there is.
Yeah. Megan, when did you finish the book?
I finished the book this morning. No, exactly at noon, because after it, I went to go get lunch.
Yeah. We're all a little bit all over the place, I think, with this past month. But yeah, the ending was great.
Oh, there's also probably going to be a novella from a different one of the 43's point of view.
Ooh.
But it is going to be parallel with 5 and 6, so you can't read it until you've read 6 because it will spoil the ending. But I'm excited about that too.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. I did like spending more time with the 48 and just how different they are as characters.
Yeah, it's just intriguing. There's so much there yet
There
to
is.
seeing what we, how much of it we actually get to see or not. But
yeah, I know we all get very excited when people say novella.
Yeah,
novella's great.
Yeah, she wrote like a couple chapters. It's not Palace. This is on her blog, so you guys can all go to the website and see, if you want. But because that's like the only place, as far as I know, that she updates anything. If you want to know anything that's happening with T.A. White, you have to go there. But it's from a character named Gus, and I think we like barely saw them. We saw them during the vote of the 43, and but also in the like snippet that she posted on the blog and people are liking, and so she wants to write the novella. She interacts with Thea. She doesn't like Thea. And then also,
I also don't like Thea.
I want to say that it's the oldest one as I was reading it, like Ryan or whatever. She might have a romance with him.
Ooh.
So obviously, I'm there. I'm seated.
I don't think anyone likes, if they've read this book, they don't like Thea. Be a
Right.
not good person.
No. Questionable.
No, I think it's like very much established. She's just not
Mm.
good.
I meant she's a questionable character.
Yeah.
She
Not that it's
was
questionable that we don't like her.
Well, truthfully, when I read the snippet, I hadn't reread this book yet. I didn't even remember Thea's existence, to be honest.
she's the reason that Julie was on, or not Julie, wow, wrong person. Can you tell I'm reading a lot of Kate Daniels?
Wrong series.
She's the reason Elena was on the street.
Yeah.
And yet, Elena and Julie are very
They're very similar.
interchangeable.
That's why my brain said Julie. I literally I was graphic audioing. I'm all the way like in the middle of 5, and I had to stop reading 5 to make sure I had enough time to read this book.
Yeah, it is Ryan that I think there's gonna be a little bit of romance with, so I'm excited.
Nice. We will take all the romance we can get.
I think that Palace said, or Lathan said that Palace found him, that he's like an actual, like not an actual, a full-blooded
Chuan.
Chuan.
It's a really interesting theory, though, and honestly, it's not one I had even.
Oh, like maybe Lathan didn't realize, or Palace didn't realize it.
But I think that is just I think it's just a Chuan Wanderer, specifically because I think accepting the Wanderers into their house and it not just being their descendants is probably important.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean Palace did make a big like speech about, he was like, no, we're the same as the Wanderer, like we're not accepted or they're not accepted, and yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel like if they've done so much to establish the Wanderers as a distinct group. But you never know.
Curious.
We've had other reveals, so who knows? Could be.
True.
Right. Because whatever she ends up writing, she'll make that work. But I do think it's just a random wanderer that through character basically, was a match.
Yeah. So given that this book, and I know this is sort of a question that we've probably touched on in our conversations, but given that this book is split into different perspectives and we're following different stories that eventually converge, how did everyone else find that?
I liked it.
I think I always kind of prefer either a single POV or a dual POV. I don't really like bouncing around beyond that. And I did definitely skim what's her name? Elena. I skimmed her parts on this reread, but
I will say that she wrote Elena very much like a YA novel. Like anytime we went to Elena, I was like, this sounds like a YA novel.
Yeah.
Which like, makes sense given Elena's age. Like I wouldn't want her to be written
no, that's why I liked it. Like I'm like, oh, it's literally because it's from her point of view that she's like, I am tough.
And it
I will
made
be
a
the
lot
best.
of sense because otherwise you would be like assuming she's being tortured or something, like she's gone for weeks. So I definitely think her point of view had to be there for this to work, but not my favorite.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So some scheming, Palace. Yeah. But yeah.
I love
I didn't mind Elena's POV, but I'm a bit the same. Like I enjoyed having the different perspectives because I understand from a plot perspective why we had so many different perspectives and everyone was split up and how that impacted the story. But it does, like, there are always going to be characters that you're more invested in. So I think when you come across the characters that you don't have that same level of investment in, and it does slow it down just a little bit. Not necessarily in a bad way, just it's a preference thing.
Yeah. And I am kind of hoping the next one we have more of a streamlined POV again between like Kira and Graydon.
Yeah. Liesl, I would also love to see this as a graphic audio. I think it would be I think there's just enough characters without it being too overwhelming for it to work effectively. What else have we got? Multiple POVs is hard. Yeah, same thing. It's depending on your investment level in the characters, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
think
severe interesting.
I think kind of seeing behind the curtain of their dynamics and society, kind of not really their society, but you know what I'm saying, was probably important for where we're at in the series and what we're hoping to do in the future with hopefully freeing a lot of them. But
Yeah. A novella from the Savides' perspective would probably be very useful in understanding a little bit more about that.
yeah.
I don't know if we'll get that.
Well, I have notes this time a little bit.
Excellent.
Um one of the things right at the beginning, if we're going in chronological order, again, that I think is part of why I love this series so much, the choices that are made for it, is that her uncle and Graydon help her break Aaron out of prison. And like you can just see so many other series where that's like, you know, such a big betrayal and it's such a big thing that gets thrown in and, you know, all of that. And instead it's just like we have limits, but also we get it. Like this has to happen. And I just love that every time she puts her trust in them or like isn't even sure if she can, they come through for her.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could, like this book really, you can see just how much they've come to trust one another as a group.
Mm-hmm.
And they trust her judgment. They trust that she knows what the next step is to make in that particular situation.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes like you see this with in real life with people's mental health and everything, but sometimes the people who love you because you are in distress, right? They're not necessarily going to trust your judgment, whereas maybe usually they would. And I like that even though she was clearly not okay, they still felt like she knew where the lines were.
Yeah. Like they always back her. And I was going to mention Graydon popping up in the prison break was probably one of my favorite bits of the whole sequence.
Graydon's the best. I love Graydon.
Just sitting in the cell with his ankles crossed, waiting for you to show up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we had her having more of those moments where she wasn't okay and she wasn't dealing with the situation.
But she didn't shut everyone out. I think that she tried a little bit, but not to the point of damaging relationships.
She's had a lot of personal growth.
It's a lot of growth, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Oh, also, well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think a Jin POV would be hilarious.
Oh, I bet we get that in the next one now that he is in a body.
Yeah.
Back at the beginning too, how Ziva tried to come along just to get the consolation of being her official student. And the way she's like, okay.
Yes.
Like, wait a second.
What wasn't even hesitation, and she will hold Kira to that forever.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
1,000,000%.
100%.
I just love that.
Yes,
because like obviously she's not going to go in an active war zone. But
part of me is just like, I can't wait to see Ziva grow up as a character, because as a move to get what you want, that was brilliant.
Yes. It was the perfect type of ask for this so that the thing you were actually going for the whole time is the compromise.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yes. And she was leaning on others this time around, which was nice.
Especially this far into the romance, if you're not willing to lean on them, I think that shows a real issue with your relationship. So
yeah.
And
I agree this one with her relationship with her Primus as well.
And also just shutting down your emotions because you can't feel it right now. You can't do it. That's definitely how I am. When I'm overwhelmed, I'm going to be kind of detached, and it's because I can't do it.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm a crier, so
No, me too.
when
Me
I'm
freaking too.
when I'm angry, I cry. When I'm stressed, I cry. When I'm
I
happy,
don't
I cry. I just cry.
I don't really cry when
Yep.
I'm angry necessarily,
I do, and I hate it
but,
because I'm like,
um
I
right,
will
it
fight
makes me
you, and I have
take you
tears like streaming down
seriously.
my face.
Right,
And so they're just like, "Oh,
but
you're just sad." And I was like, "No, I'm just so angry."
right.
I think
No.
it's when that anger crosses into frustration with or it's like that real angry, frustrated thing that I get
Mhm.
really teary. Like, so I'm just like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
There we go. We're all in good company. We all cry about anything. It's great.
Good, good.
yeah.
But yes, hope like I would like to see more of Ziva. I think she's been used really effectively in the scenes that she's in the books. But I
Mhm.
think as she gets older and progresses, I think she's a really interesting character just from what we've seen.
Agreed.
That that's the thing that I was gonna say before we went live, and I was like,
Sorry.
maybe I should say this. I really liked and thought it was just really well done and interesting how she has Jen separate, right? And you have the whole like stress of the storyline of them literally dying because they're separated, but she still had the not Jin there for comedic relief in a way that it was very clear it wasn't him and it wasn't the same personality, but it still worked kind of in the same
Yeah.
storytelling aspect.
Mhm.
And that's how I feel about the kids too. Like the kids are used so well. They don't overtake. They're also not forgotten. And I don't know, there's just I am just so impressed when you can have that many side characters and make them feel like real relationships and people with different personalities and somehow balance the amount of page time that they're all getting.
Yeah, I loved, when Jin came back into the scene with Kira, and he was like, "Have you been referring to me as J1N this whole time?"
Yes.
"What
That
did
was
you
very
do to me? We're gonna have to talk
Why does it
about
feel
boundaries."
weird in here?
yes,
Uh,
and they're getting stuck in the branches.
just
I do want to just tentatively come back to this comment around Jewel and Devon. I think they were utilized really well as characters, and I think they've had so much growth.
they showed up more as adults in this
They
one.
did.
Yeah.
They did. And it's kind of nice to have that expanded cast also developing their own relationships
Mhm.
outside that then
Mhm.
they're able to utilize in the best way to help
Mhm.
whatever the situation is that they've been thrown into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of side character relationships, when all the 43 gathered and were voting,
Yeah.
it was really interesting for them to be like, "Well, do we let Kira do this?" And then be like, "Oh, of course you would vote with Kira," or, "Of course
Mhm.
you care about the prodigal child." And I'm like, "Oh god, like, there's some people in here who are not happy."
Yeah, it's interesting because they're really loyal to each other, but they're also all broken in
Mhm.
different ways, and so it's kind of a antagonistic relationship as well. It's just interesting, and I'm excited to see more of them
Yeah.
because I definitely
and
think we're going to continue to see more and more of them.
Mhm.
yeah, I think it'll be well because they're all going to have their own like they've got their own collective motivation, but I think they've all as individuals got their own individual motivation as well based on whatever experience they've had.
Yeah.
So getting to see a few more of them, because yeah, we've only really had those that probably have the strongest relationship with Kira so far,
Yeah.
Yeah,
for better or worse in Palace's case.
and I really like Palace, and I think it's gonna be interesting to see her relationship with him strengthen, and also, like, when he saw Jin and was like, "It's good to see you, little brother," and
Yeah,
Mhm.
even though he wasn't awake, it was just sweet.
yeah.
Also, speaking of people seeing Jin, his mother, the Empress,
Mm.
showing up and it
Oh
being
my god,
like
yes.
Kira was like, "I didn't even know if she, like, existed."
I'm like, hang on, wait a second, what was that?
That's so interesting.
I
And I'm
also
so
didn't realize that she existed. Like, I didn't process in my head, but
right.
they
You
never
just
said she was dead.
assume you just
She just
assume
doesn't care.
she's not there.
Mm.
Like I
Well,
always assumed she was dead until she showed up.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, because we've seen the Emperor and we've seen Devon, but there's been no mention prior to that, and you just automatically in your head go, okay, maybe she's not
Yeah.
in the picture anymore for whatever reason, and you don't think any
Right.
more of it.
Or maybe in they weren't mates, it wasn't important. Like you don't know because nothing was said, but you just assume it's not important because it's not there.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good point because I think, yeah, every character in here is built up by the layers of the people that they have as their support network.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Just like in reality, you are yourself, but you have your layers of people and support.
Yeah, it makes the characters so much less two-dimensional. They're
Mhm.
not just there for girls' night out, and that's the
Yeah.
only form of friendship that you see, or they're not just there to try and kill you because they're evil, and that's all you see. It just really adds so much depth and is difficult to do.
Yeah.
It really
Well,
is.
I think it's just difficult to do in a really realistic and authentic way because you can throw as many characters as you like into. I mean, I suppose that's probably why people like the found family trope so much, is because it is built upon that idea of people
Yeah.
who are always going to be there for you no matter what. They're the people that
Mhm.
you've chosen.
But sometimes, you see a found family and it's like, okay, this person clearly wanted to write a found family, but they didn't
Yeah,
bother to really make
to build
some
it up.
characters that they were then going to put in a found family. They were just like, oh, we love each other. We die for each other.
Yeah.
We're a found family. That's literally all you got.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
it was a little bit out of nowhere about Devon's mum,
Anything
but that's
else?
okay. I mean, I don't think it was a bad thing. I just think she wasn't a needed character up until that point, and
Right.
maybe that's what makes it so effective to bring her in at this
Right.
point.
On the ship heading back at the end where Devon is holding Jin.
Mm.
I can't wait to see Devin as the younger brother interacting with him as the older brother, but as a child.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's gonna be so funny. I just know it. I'm just picturing this mischievous slash emotionally immature old man and a
Yeah.
little child, and it's gonna be something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's probably one of the things that has really worked about the series is that you get the good with the bad, and it's not the end of anyone's relationships
Yeah.
because you have a bad moment.
Mhm.
Yes, Devon Jin shenanigans will occur, and they will be excellent.
Yes.
I'm so sure.
Life Umbrella Academy. Yeah.
I know you guys aren't Elise haters, but I also know you're not her biggest fan. So how did you feel about her after this book?
I felt better about her after this book.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Like, you understand.
You always understood. Like you always
Yeah,
felt it.
yeah. Oh, I always understood, and I think this adds to the layer of that. So, her motivations make a lot more sense.
Mhm.
Um, and in a lot of ways, the fact that she's a lot like Kira and that she does it all on her own and all of that, like that makes sense
And
as well
also,
because of what she's protecting. But
I think you also see that like she's actively suffering as well. It's not just
Mhm.
like, oh, you survived the torture 10 years ago and now you're just going
yeah,
along for the ride for the rest of it. Like you are constantly going through it.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and I think to understand everything, you needed to have this information about her and why she was doing what she was doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, otherwise she just becomes a character that you don't understand the true reason behind it. So it's 50-50 whether you're actually going to be sympathetic to her character at any point.
Right.
Mhm.
And with her other offspring, I thought was really interesting. I wrote it down. Graydon says that the Luong, the, dragons, they were the ones to offer the Tuon to be more than what their masters had designed way back when they broke free, basically, and that they needed to offer the children the same thing and not, be harsher on them than the Luong were on them for the exact same reasons. And I thought that was a really interesting kind of, I don't know, tidbit about their history.
Yeah, I think so. And I think like it's also important because depending on which Tuan house you're talking about, I mean, we know that both Kira's houses are probably going to be a little bit more accepting of things that are different, and some of the others are a little bit more strict or just a little bit more traditional in their way of thinking. So you've got to come at that from a historical perspective of what is actually part of the Tuan history and how do we show compassion to things that maybe where, some of that xenophobia or things like that might interfere with their ability to accept any kind of homecoming.
And with the indication that the 43 will make their own house with the Wanderers, but join Tuan's society in that way.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
I feel like that's might be where, like, because I think they had said that the plan was for them to settle wherever the creature in the egg from the last book, I can't think of what they're called, settles.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't have the name written down.
Yeah, because I think that's what
interesting little creature.
Yeah, because I think that's what they had originally said, was like that's why the Wanderer wanted it, was because wherever it lands will probably be where they all settle.
Yeah. I liked that the Wanderer was with us in this book too. I didn't really expect to see him again so soon, so I liked that.
Oh, it was good. And I like that idea of the people who have been displaced from their home and their family will have a place, and that there will be, and that they'll have allies who are actively fighting for their inclusion, whatever that looks like and however they choose to engage.
Yeah, because from the very first book, right at the beginning, when we meet the children, right, it's been presented as a problem with their society, is that kind of once you're cast out, you don't really have the acceptance.
Well, there's that, and there's also with the 48 that they're expecting their kids to be the same as they were as well. So they've kind of got we expect it to be one way, but we might have to compromise in this case, and it was like part of that same court scene as well from the from the previous book, where they basically had the truth dropped on them that your children don't necessarily want to come back to you because of the way that you view anything that's different.
And they're all different.
And they're all different. They're not the same, and they're going to challenge your worldview, essentially.
Right. Right. Even the most normal of them is not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a nice real world analogy.
For sure.
Yeah.
I like him too.
I think he's an interesting character.
I also really like that we get more of Talon in this one. And he kind of just sticks along. And also him becoming her Oshada.
Yeah.
She actively protests. It's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't say I agreed. No, this is not an agreement.
I do love that she was like, and then they're like, don't worry, no one heard. I can still go back on it. And then Graydon is like, so you have another one.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
I'm excited to see Finn and Talon continue to be by her side.
I will say it again. Finn continues to be probably one of my favorite characters.
I love him.
Finn is great.
Like he's
in
my favorite.
A constant state of devastation that Kira is once again on death's door, on the other side of a door from him.
Poor guy.
Yeah, and I think having Talon there to balance him out as well is useful.
And take some of the pressure off. It's not just
does.
you single-handedly.
And he has someone to empathize with him when she does something that causes him stress.
For sure.
Yeah. This is a good question.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Maybe that could be where it could be where that part of the story is going.
Maybe, yeah.
Obviously the ones that we have, what was his name? Finn or Fryn or something like that. The boy,
Aaron?
the general boy.
Oh,
No.
Fire.
Yes.
Mhm.
Obviously him and Aaron
Mhm.
are being folded in somewhat.
Yeah.
And I'm curious because eventually one would assume all the generals are going to be freed or killed, all of that. I'm curious to see if they have like their own society away from the Tuon, but perhaps alliances are formed, or if they are somehow integrated. I hadn't really thought about them being integrated as a possibility, but Cynthia, once again.
Good question. I'm one. Well, now that you said like almost like like allies, if they were to settle in a similar place, it would make sense if they were on the same planet as the 43. They probably
I'm also
not necessarily
curious
integrate, but might work
about
better with them.
the difference in key and stuff between the
Mhm.
generals and the Tuon, because obviously there's like some similarities there, but it's also an evolutionary difference. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
But what their ideal environment if it would be identical to Tuon or different.
Yeah, and I think they've probably got more in common with each other than they do with anyone else.
Right.
At this point.
43 are still needing relationships in a way that they have not allowed themselves.
Yeah.
It seems like Kira is the beginning of that.
Yeah. Jumping back to some of these other comments. So yes, Talon is a hoot.
It's a good time. And also the little tidbit that he's Rourke's spy master, basically, with his bar. Yeah,
that was great. Like, and the fact that he popped up so much, there was always that thought that there had to be something more, but it may not necessarily have eventuated as well.
Yeah. Because, his purpose could have just been humanizing Finn more. Finn has friends outside of, but no, we get him too. And that's exciting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was a group effort spearheaded by myself.
Yes. Yeah, and then also the Sai.
That was
oh yeah.
When they mentioned Odin, I was like, okay, all right. And then it was like death. And I was like, oh, all right, no, we're not allies. Never mind then. Guess not.
Yeah. I think there's so many interesting things happening, and I think that's what probably makes this book really successful for me as a science fiction romance, is that T.A. White's managed to actually build up this really expansive sci-fi world without it just being, this is just the setting for the story, which I think is fine. Like, if that's what you want, if you just want a really basic setup and you want the romance to be forward, whereas I think this is very much story forward with a central romance.
100%.
Which is my preference, if I'm going to be honest.
And not easily done.
No. It's really... it to do it properly, I think you need this many books. Like, you need to be able to you need to be able to take your time with it and not try and force it into either one really long story or just have like snippets of it, which is no shade to anything else, because I think there are some really well done shorter sci-fi romances, but
no, it's great.
I suppose maybe because I started in sci-fi as a genre on its own, like that's
you're a sci-fi lover.
Yeah,
your core. And also just the length of these books, literally, the length of these books being so purposeful and so valuable. It's not like, okay, you literally needed to edit out 100+ pages of this book. No, it's actually good.
100%.
We've heard them called the masters, like the old masters or their masters. That's pretty much what we've heard, right?
Yeah. And I think we probably spent more time with Odin in this book which was, I think, also interesting to learn more about them.
Yeah.
From this really specific lens, I suppose.
Yeah. I'm very interested in their continued role and to see, because you have to assume that there are other side that want to be free, but we've only kind of seen them mentioned. You saw it with Aaron, talking about how they're the master's guard dogs, basically. They're the ones that ruin it for everyone else by being such good, faithful servants and cruel and all of that. So, and the only one, obviously, again, Kara was like, death to you. So,
yeah.
Interested.
It was this book where they go back to the planet that they destroyed prior to the series, isn't it? I'm just mentally blanking on the timeline because it's...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Rothschild.
Yes, thank you. Name. This is the problem. I read it on as an ebook, and I didn't actually mark anything up in the book this time. So, and also I'm like, hang on, was it this book or was it the previous book? It had to be the start of this book where they went back to Rothschild. Like even that revelation and how and Odin's connection to Rothschild as it is now, like that was fascinating.
Yeah.
I also like that Graydon basically like made her go.
Yep.
She was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. And it was very much like they could tell it was lip service. So they were like, please help, like make her go. It'll help her.
The sigh. I don't know. Yeah. I think it has some sort, since we know that Odin removed an eye in order to be able to escape, I assume that there's some sort of implant, some sort of mind control thing. Obviously, we saw the Asari messing with Jin and Kira's bond and being able to do that. Again, like they're, super powerful. So I think that there's for sure a level of mental control and stuff that in some way they're able to exert on them.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
No, like considering how many moving parts I think there were in this book, it was done really well.
There's another thing in this book where Graydon specifically talks about how he had never wanted to strong arm Kira and had never planned on, forcing her into Tuon society. He had just wanted to arrange meetings by accident where they'd run into each other and like she would eventually be drawn in before realizing that she was literally on death's door. And I feel like that really makes, his manipulation at the beginning more palatable. That wasn't really, that was not his number 1, 2, or 3 plan. That was forced by extreme circumstances, and he was still able to gain her trust and her affection, and that's impressive too.
Well, I think he's a really interesting character in that he's very much a political character, but he doesn't come across that way. Because and he's again, I mean, we talked about the loyalty of all these characters. He's very loyal to his people, but he also understands the line between his loyalty and also his role within the society, which is the political side, and how to balance that. Because he does start out manipulating the situation, and he is very good at talking Kira into things that he needs her to do. But I think across the course of the 5 books, it's become less about manipulation and more into appealing to what he has learnt of her and how to actually get her to see that this is the right course of action. Yeah. And I think the same works in reverse for her with him as well. So it starts off seeming like that relationship is going to be really unbalanced, but it's not.
Right.
And it never really was unbalanced. It was just at one point he had more information than she did.
Right.
Yeah. That imbalance was gone.
Also, like he's a manipulator in the sense that he's not like
He's not malicious with it.
Not what you think of for a manipulative person. Because when I think of a manipulative person, I think of someone that they don't care about your feelings as much as they care about getting their way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what he is. And I also think it's interesting because we're basically viewing him from the perspective of the person that he loves more than anything in the world, you know?
Yeah.
So we're in a lot of ways seeing the best of him and the ways that he would break rules or what have you. Completely different from the rest of his role as the Emperor's face, because it's like, no, this is his person.
And I think this point's really important as well. He is open about it. He's not trying to say that he's not trying to convince her to do what he wants. He's always been, no, this is
right. And
this is going to save your life. This is why I'm trying to get you to do it.
So well too, because it's an enjoyable battle of wills for them. They get just as much of a kick out of it when the other one wins as they do when they're the winner. And that's important too. You can't only have fun if you're the one coming out on top. And then every time the other person scores a point, you're throwing a fit.
Yeah. And the thing is, they're also, they know that to them it's almost a game.
Mm-hmm.
without it being the toxic kind of game that comes up a lot in romance books.
Yeah, it's a really good balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, also just having that devotion, you know, knowing that they adore you and worship the ground you walk on, and also knowing that they would never cross the line. They would never force you into anything in a way that like you just can't accept it. You know, this was the line and they crossed it and they're not sorry. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Look, I think if we go back to, say, you know, some of my favorite romance couples and the dynamics within those couples, even if they're not perfect and whatever, like Kate and Karen are always in that group. And it's the same with these two. I think they're if you ask me at the end of the year, who is one of the favorite couples that I've read throughout the course of this year, it would be these two, because I think they balance each other so well.
They do. It's fun to watch them interact with each other.
Agreed.
And it does just remind me so much of Kate and Curran. It's like, it's just them in a slightly different font. And
the amount of times I've been like, oh, and then this part, and then my brain went, that's Kate and Curran, Megan. You did read that this week, but that's not the correct book.
Yeah.
I can't imagine reading both series at the same time, Megan, because they are so similar.
Look, I didn't realize, like, I didn't process in my brain until I started going through, and then I was like, oh no.
Whoops. What an epic series the Kate Daniels and Firebird Chronicles meshed together are.
Yeah.
Is that just the innkeepers?
Possibly. All right. Here's a question. Cynthia's coming through with all the questions today.
I feel like, okay, here's the thing though. He didn't kill the Kurz. It specifically says he blew up the moon, but he didn't kill the Kurz. He starts saying that was someone else, and then what, he gets shot or something? It's like right before the
didn't we figure out who it was?
It was Thea.
Thea. Yeah.
So he, again, like, Kira has a lot of learning about the 43 to go, right? And it's going to change her point of view. And we know that. We know from Celine and Palace, little things that they've said, that Kira doesn't have the whole story, that she has always viewed herself as separate, but they haven't really viewed her that way, except for her holding herself separate.
I don't know if Palace is telling the truth in this situation.
He does say yes, but then I think that's the type of thing where he blames himself maybe a little bit for that, but not. I think when, yes, he does say yes, but then later on he says he didn't betray them specifically. Right. It wasn't the Vega that he messed with.
Because Diesel, she was the one that gave Diesel the stuff.
Yeah. I think that, first of all, I don't think that it does cheapen Kira's sacrifice specifically. To go back to that, because in a battle like that, no one person can truly control every aspect, right? There's always the element of other people and the element of chance. Just, so it doesn't matter how involved they were, none of it can fall on one head. It really can't. I think that is, I don't know. I just think that's important. And then I think that with Kira, it's like, I don't know, nothing changes the reality of what she's lived for the last 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it almost doesn't even matter what she finds at this point. It can for other people, but at the same time, the lived experience of her and Raider and everybody else, it's already lived. So it is what it has been, regardless of how they reframe it at this point.
And I think your point before about Kira not necessarily understanding or knowing the full history of the 43 also comes back to that idea that they consider her her and Jin the younger siblings. So there are things that they will, even though Kira keeps herself apart, there are things that they probably never would have told them as well.
And then
Being the
didn't
younger siblings.
Palace confronted her. He was like, "You left us."
Yeah. Yeah.
And because they had that big old thing like back and forth.
Yeah, and she says, I wouldn't have abandoned Jin and stuff. And he's like, I don't know why you still think that is the issue that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for all of Palace's character, I think there is part of him that is still hurt by the fact that they abandoned them.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably, I mean, he's a bit of an unhinged character, and I like him for that. But there's still that sense of they were a group and they've separated, and all of them are responsible for why they're not a connected group.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of ways the 43 view Kira decided that she loved humans more than them, and that's been hurtful for them.
Yeah. And I think, well, that has to do with how she was raised post everything that happened as well. And I think we talked a lot about Kira's growth as a character. I think there's also a part of her that takes responsibility for things that aren't her responsibility to take credit for as well. So she holds on to them. And at the time when all of this was happening, she hadn't learnt certain things about herself, about even her leadership style. She might have been a leader within the group. She might have had the ability to affect an outcome of a situation, but she's still also working from what's the best way to say it? Like she's used to making decisions that she thinks she knows the best outcome for. And I don't know if that makes sense.
Still very much so a child when she formed all of these opinions, right, and impressions. And we know that sometimes you look back and you're like, oh, I thought I felt that way because I was 14. That person was not doing. Now looking back at it, if you have enough of a memory or something to be able to reframe it, it is like, oh, I understand now in a way that I couldn't possibly have then. And yes, the emotional impact is still the same because again, that's what I lived.
Well, it's what happened.
Right. But I do see it different as a 34-year-old.
And I think we see it all the time because she's constantly reframing her relationship with everyone from the past. Like just the way she reframed her entire relationship with Raider in the series. And even having to reframe how she thinks of Jace as well. I mean, we haven't talked about Jason in this book, but having to reframe now that he's had to take on or step into Himoto's role
Yeah.
and what he's dealing with and how she can't just make light of him and his decisions because he's working with a much bigger frame and sort of situation that she's not actually actively involved in. Which is just growth and growing up.
Yeah, it is. And this is the type of thing too where you know, when you're in that position of authority and stuff, it is different. You do have to think differently. You do have to act differently than what someone who is not in that position might view as right or wrong, because they simply don't have to consider all of the factors that you do.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jace, I thought it was really, really interesting that it mentioned that the Tuon don't make alliances with governments. They make alliances with people, and they're willing to make an alliance with Jace.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
I think his arc has been not that he's sort of been front and center in any of the books. So you haven't necessarily seen as much of the sort of day-to-day sort of stuff with his character growth. But since he's stepped into that role and also he's had to grow and understand what being in that role means and the implications of the decisions that are made, and also that the people that you thought were your close friends, you are now a step removed because you are in that leadership position. So you have to make decisions even if you know that it's not going to sit well with the people that you count as your friend group.
Right.
And I think that paid off with the fact that the Tuan now trust him as a leader, which was nice. Yeah, I think he did a great job with that, because we know that it can't have been easy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the girl he was dating, right?
Yeah, he was dating her. That's not going to last.
Oh, and the whole Blue thing. I do like that Blue kept calling her Gracie.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about Blue.
I was going to say, I feel like if we're talking about characters in this, I think she's probably been the most underutilized. And
yeah.
That's not because she's been left out of so much of the nitty-gritty stuff. And I think there are points where she gets where she's come across as frustrated and almost annoying in the way that she reacts to finding something out that everyone else has known for a book's length worth of time. But I understand that for her character, because literally they took off and they didn't tell her what was going on.
Right. Exactly.
So I understand that. And also I think because she's one of the youngest of the Kerrs as well. So again, she's also maybe been shielded from a lot of things even prior to this. And to be constantly shielded, I think I'm curious to see if she's used more in the next book.
Yeah, there's got to be something that's going to happen with her. But also, if we are talking about all of our characters and stuff, she's probably one of my least favorite. But I think some of that might just be I'm not a huge fan of that character type. The fun hair-colored computer tech genius. What do I want? What's that? What is that character type?
She's almost like a stereotype of a character that was put into the story. And
I can think of a psychedelic fairy, and that's not correct. That's not
manic.
Dream girl.
But just as a character type, that's just not my favorite. It never has been. So I think that might be why, she's not my favorite.
But probably the first book was where I was most interested in her character, in terms of the fact that she was very interested in Tuan technology and the history behind it and the connections that she made between that and things that have appeared in Earth history. But then we didn't get that continuation. She's kind of just been there to move along little plot points at various points, and then to
They're like, we
just
need a
remind us.
tinkerer, and Jin is
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I think had she continued in that vein, because once Kira and Rada entered into the trials and things like that, they really bonded, but Blue was always on the outside and she wasn't really involved
Hmm.
past that
Yeah.
in the same kind of capacity, which I think just means that as a character, we're not connected to her as much. So we're not as invested in her storyline. And then whenever she does appear, it's almost, I don't want to say tokenistic, because I don't think that's necessarily the case, but it's kind of that token character who was introduced, but now we don't really know what to do with.
Yeah.
Tia White must know that, though, at this point,
Yeah.
5%, that she's got to do something with Blue one way or the other, kind of.
Yeah. Like we don't have enough information about her. I'm assuming that there is something potentially coming with her, because there are no other characters like Blue in the story that are just there for the sake of being there, if that makes sense. In that same sort of level of, she's actively in the book, but she's not serving necessarily a purpose for the story.
I think Grace is a spy because I don't like Grace, and that's not really but yes.
Yeah.
I don't like her, so I think she is secretly working for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think particularly with Blue, there was just some stuff, like she was used in a way that just didn't make sense to me as a character, but also she wasn't in it enough for it to make a difference in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And truthfully, if she wrote her in the first book and then has been kind of like, I don't know what to do with this, that's okay if she, is figuring out a way to take care of her one way or another. It's okay too. You don't have to have every single thing planned out at the beginning. I can't imagine being able to do it. So, if this is one little thing that kind of fell through the cracks, that's all right.
I almost feel like Blue needs to realign back in with Jason and the human group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's not really folded into the Tuan the way that Raider is.
I mean, they kind of do that now, because isn't she still under arrest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's in the brig.
Yeah. So, like, it'll be interesting to see how that's all resolved in the end.
Mm-hmm. Do we think that she's full human?
Who? Blue?
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that she's like a super, super genius could be because she's not just human.
Mm. Yeah, I don't think she'll stay in the brig.
She has like 2 PhDs or something.
No one stayed in prison long enough.
The equivalent of Megan.
Sorry?
Says she's the equivalent of Megan.
I have 0 PhDs, thank you very much.
You basically do. But no, I mean, I don't know. I think the fact that her not just being human was introduced as a possibility, to me, indicates that it will come to fruition.
Yeah.
But that's just my perception. It could go either way.
Yeah.
Fair.
I don't know. I'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Well, I think having a common ancestor has kind of been the biggest hint that we've been given for all of these groups. And also it's a really common just science fiction trope in general. Yeah. I think the way Raider has built up the loyalty of the Tuan has been really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like his friendship with Finn.
Yeah.
They both just get as exasperated as each other about Kira.
Mm-hmm.
I also like how Ren has like incorporated him into everything, because he knows that will benefit his family in the long run too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think he embodied. Oh, sorry, Heather.
No.
was just going to say he embodies what they respect,
Mhm.
even
Yeah.
if initially they didn't think that he would.
Yeah.
Which is
He
part of
passed the advocat.
well, that's what I was going to say. The whole point of all of their trials and their tests and things like that was to highlight the things that they value, and they were never expecting a human to be able to do that.
Mhm.
So
I just
he's the lens through which they will view
yeah.
humans.
Mhm. I just really like how much Elise's family is so involved and accepting and loving and just really right there with
Yeah.
them. I like that.
Yeah. And I do like this.
I know.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
I also liked that in this book, I think he had like a brief POV or something where he basically says he's not giving up on Elise. Like he's gonna have it all. He wants them all back, and that's the love of his life and everything. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
we also had his
treated her in the last.
POV. I think when he was with Jace, because he was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, I now understand Kira's inability to trust,"
Yeah.
and that's when he had to decide if he wanted to trust Jace with this or just run away.
Especially when with that paranoia of having to assume that somebody you trust is a spy. You don't know who, but you know somebody in your circle. It has to be.
Yeah.
That just seems awful.
It does.
Mhm.
I do like that. I mean, of all of our all of our male characters who are strongly prevalent within the story, like we don't have any toxic male characters.
We really don't. And we don't have any, like, really prevalent characters that are super annoying. Obviously, we
No.
have had, antagonistic people, but they haven't been constants throughout the series. They've been more in, like, one specific book or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just really like that because my tolerance does go down the more I see you on page, And I don't like being actively annoyed in a book that I'm trying to enjoy. So I like that that is limited. It's present. It exists. Obviously, we don't get along with everybody, so of course it's realistic, but I like how little it's kind of in there.
Yeah. And I think given how we were like initially in book one, you're almost set up to think, you're set up to believe one way about characters like Raider. And then he just constantly proves you wrong the more you read through the story. And it would be really easy, I think, to not unpack his backstory or any of the major side characters, their backstories, for the sake of moving the main arc forward. But we've gotten everyone's history, and we've gotten okay, why did they react that way in book one compared to where we are now? And that's nice. It's easy to skip.
I really, really think that part of what makes this work so well is you have 5 books of plot, world building, character depth, but healing. You have 5 books of healing, of kind of everybody healing in different ways. And you can see truly just the progression of healing throughout the books. And that was so needed.
Yep.
And we're obviously not done yet either. So I'm excited to see how that continues.
Yes. Alrighty. Is there
I
anything
can't wait to see Jen.
Yes.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Oh man, when I first read that, I was just like, "Oh my god." I cannot believe
I'm a biological?
Why is my hand so tiny compared to yours? Kira, a child?
Yeah.
Oh, I just can't wait. And it's going to be interesting too, seeing him as a biological, but with all of the tech knowledge. Like it's just going to be so interesting. I can't wait to see what she does with it.
He's going to be a terror. That's what he's going to be.
Oh, he's going to be the
put
worst.
Me in a child. Yes. Oh god.
Yeah.
He's still going to sneak around. He's going to be like sneaking through air vents and stuff because he's so much smaller than everyone.
is literally the thing I'm most excited about for book 6 is just getting to see him.
Yeah. I also hope this for Rita as well.
For sure. I'm like,
Mhm.
you better not die of old age at 70, buddy.
Yeah.
Yep.
No
Yep.
can do.
Yeah.
Not allowed.
And in some ways, Elena too, like because she has matured at the closer
Oh
to
yeah, because she was
human.
human.
I'm like,
Yes, everyone's going to underestimate. He's going to try and do something that he could do in his tech body, and it's going to fail on him.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
going to be so
I
funny.
just know it's gonna be so good. It's literally like I literally could read all of book 6 just about him and what he's
Yeah.
doing. And
Yeah.
everyone trying to deal with him.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Oh, wait till he goes through the trials.
Well,
yeah, 'cause
and
he
I'm
still has
curious
to
about
do the
that because they
Ah.
said he passed, basically.
Oh,
Did they say he honorarily passed?
Yeah, so now that he's in a body, I'm really curious to see what they do with that.
Like, look, I know we said this, but
He's gonna have like all the rights and prestige and power of an adult, but
Yeah.
look like a
he's
tiny
this big.
miniature man. It's
Put-
just gonna be good. I
Put
know
Jin
it is.
and Ziva in a room.
Oh no.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready for Ziva to be like, I'm older than you. I don't know. It's just gonna be good. I just know it is, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Oh, it's going to be so funny.
Yeah, I am so excited about that. And obviously, too, with the way that she's paced the books, I feel like we're going to be back in society pretty firmly for book 6.
Yeah.
And then book 7 will probably be somewhere else again, kind of. Like that seems to really be the pattern that she's doing.
Yeah.
And based on, right at the beginning of this book, we got told about, an attack on one of the houses and everything. And I just think it's going to be interesting with that and Jin and the Emperor and the Empress. So, like, I feel like all that's going to.
But also their like suspicion, they were like, well, Harlow, why didn't you have any of the like infiltrators? And like, because I listened to the warning. And then like even her mom's house also, like they're like, yeah, we had like a couple, but they did a full and scale investigation. So it wasn't as bad. Like they were prepared.
And they did
maybe
have betrayals in the books that
Yeah.
we were introduced to them too. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
why
that they were immune. But
I just love that they were like, well, we listened to the warning. I'm like, thank you. Thank you.
We had an experience and we paid attention to the fact that we did, so we figured it out.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Alrighty. Is there anything we've missed?
I don't know. I just am excited for whatever book 6 looks like. That's kind of just the feeling I have at the end of this.
Yeah. I feel like the Tessariel will be like, I think that'll still be part of the story. I think it was too big a part of the story to not be revisited at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, everyone is kind of, well, obviously we end this book 2 months later with Jin waking up, but it like everyone's kind of a little beat up, so I feel like we're gonna do some of that.
Yeah, we're gonna have some of that healing time, I think.
Yeah.
Also,
and the inner workings of their society.
I feel like there's gonna be a probably a good part where Jin has to relearn how to be like a biological instead of a tiny orb.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm really curious too, because every single book she started it like really close to the ending. So it'll be interesting. Now I do think it was this book, right? It did start like a few weeks later because the other one ended with Graydon waking up, and then this one, she's going.
I think this was like the first one that had a.
Yeah,
this was like the first one that didn't start right where it ended.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see what happens in the next one, but
Yep. Alrighty.
I'm so glad everybody read this.
We are all glad that we read it too.
Yes. Heather just influencing all of our reading as per usual.
It's just one of those that begs to be talked about by people who also read it.
Yeah. 100%.
Fair.
100%.
I hope we have a live no later than December.
Yep.
Yes.
That's what I hope.
A surprise Christmas live show.
Woo.
I'm ready.
Yeah, we will, like when the next book comes out, we'll try and do the live fairly in a timely manner after it comes out. It will probably depend when it does come out.
Yeah.
The second half of the year, I think, is always a little bit trickier.
Yeah.
Timing
We'll be within a couple weeks, though.
Yeah.
No earlier than 1 week, because we like to give people more than a day.
Especially if I have to read it with my eyeballs, it'll take me a bit.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. I have no idea what her audiobook, ebook line is like.
Because I know some people, it's like 2 different release times, and then some people they've tried to release them at the same time. So
yeah. So we'll look at all of that and then we'll let people know. But yeah, thank you for joining us and for coming along and chatting. And
yes, it was fun.
What we can say is there will be another live show next week, but you'll have not next week, next month, but you'll have to wait till the end of this week to find out what it is that we're doing.
Dun, 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 dun.
Although if you paid any attention to Heather's channel, you already know.
No hints have ever been dropped.
And if you paid attention to my channel, you would have been very disappointed as I haven't listened to anything in like 2 years.
But yes, like you kind of can't get rid of us on a monthly basis at the minute. So
it's our time to socialize with y'all.
That's right.
Yeah. Heather did it first, though. Heather kind of made the decision on this one, which is surprising given what it is. But
I only did it because you wanted it, and then I liked it enough. If I'd hate it, you'd be on your own. But
well, no, Megan and I would have just carried it on our own, probably. But yes,
forever.
That should come out around Thursday or Friday, depending on whatever.
The band is getting back together.
The band is staying together.
As usual. One thing I will say is we stayed on topic today.
We did.
Which is very unusual for all of us.
How tired we were. We didn't have the energy to think of other topics.
Well, there was a lot to be said, honestly, too.
There was.
It's such a fun series. So thank you, Heather, for convincing all of us to read it.
MVP.
And thank you to everyone for joining in the conversation. And we'll keep you posted whenever the next book comes out as to what we're doing. So on that note, have a good night, everyone, or day, etc. I think we have 3 very tired people who are all going to go and probably sleep or take a nap in my case.
We made it, though.
We did it. Back to Kate and Curran. Woo!
Woo! All right. We'll see you guys soon. Bye, everyone.